A lot of the time when we're talking to our clients, we're actually talking about information, specifically rather than data. Data makes up information but is not relevant in itself. So data could be symbols, it could be formulas, it could be personal identifiable information. Only when you create that into some form of document, whether that's in a Microsoft Office document or any other type of file, does it become information. Information is then used by people to make decisions, and that information is then sent around the organisation and quite often sent outside of the organisation. So what we're talking about there is actually information specifically rather than data. We've been working with the military for many, many years and started off in the military messaging world where they were always used to putting labels on things, secret, top secret. And the reason that they were putting these labels on is it was controlling who could see that information, did they have the clearances to see it, where it could go to. We also put more labels on those military messages, which we call precedents, which tells the user how quickly they need to deal with that piece of information. So we've got a rich history of putting many, many different labels on messages so that the users can actually understand what the information is in the message, how to deal with it, and how quickly to deal with it. So when we're talking to our clients about deploying Classifier, and we talk to them about how it can actually improve their business workflow, so what we're able to do is move classification out of just the security silo and start using the labels that we're putting on that information to actually give some kind of context to what the user is doing. In this way, we're able to create some business taxonomy. By putting more than one label on a piece of information, you can start to understand what it is, where it is, who can see it. So a user immediately can say, oh yes, that's an HR document and I know how that's supposed to be organised and who can see that. Or that's an engineering document, I know which teams are allowed to do that. So by putting more than one label on a piece of information and creating a business taxonomy, we're able to start creating a hierarchy and telling users how that information should be used and where it should go to. When our clients deploy Classifier, they start to understand the metadata can trigger many other technologies. This means for them that they can start to automate many other processes and they can start to pull together a whole life cycle of how data and information flows around the business. So just by asking the user to put one label on a document, that can then decide where it's stored, how long it's stored for, is it encrypted, is it allowed out of the organisation? If it does go out of the organisation, do we put some form of IRM policy around it? So just one label and one click of a button can control a piece of information from its life cycle, from creation right through to its deletion. We have a customer who actually puts 17 different labels on pieces of information. Now that's not to say that every organisation should do that, but what they're able to do in that environment is they have data stored around the world in different countries that have different laws and requirements for how long they're allowed to store data and different types of data. And automatically this information is flagged up on a date and timestamp, so these deletions can occur automatically without anybody having to do anything or any manual intervention. For them, this means that they're compliant with all the regulations in all the many countries that they work with around the world.